Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. I'm your host, Trevor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And today we're talking 49er football. It's Friday, and you know every Friday we talk about the game coming up. And this week, it's the 49ers versus the Cardinals. Cardinals coming to San Francisco to play the Niners at 1:05 on Sunday. The big news this week is the Davante Adams of the Las Vegas Raiders is demanding a trade, and now the Raiders are openly taking offers for Davante Adams. I would love to have Davante Adams on this 49er team, especially if it's alongside Brandon Ayuk. But I also don't want to trade any key players on the 49ers either. Mason is doing great. I wouldn't give him up. Jauan Jennings would be really hard to give up right now as he is performing like outstandingly. Now, the key thing here is the Raiders are only asking for a second-round pick and some compensation. The kicker is that Davante Adams is going to ask to have his contract restructured either now, most likely now, or at the end of the season, and he's a $35 million a year guy. He is better than Brandon Ayuk, so a swap for Davante Adams and giving away Ayuk right now, especially with the way Ayuk's playing, I'm kind of up for it. Davante Adams is a far better wide receiver. He's faster. He runs the routes just as well, but he's a faster wide receiver who can spread the field, and he's got amazing hands. I would make that trade personally. It may not be a popular one, but that's the trade I would make if I was a 49ers. I don't think I'd want to give up Jauan Jennings because he's playing really well. And like I've been saying for weeks and months now, actually, guys, Jauan Jennings is an underrated wide receiver. The guy's amazing. And if you believe in him the way I believe in him, then swapping Ayuk for Adams is not a bad idea. Here's where the problem comes in for the 49ers getting involved in this trade. And that is we have free agents coming up. Number one, we have to pay Brock Purdy after this season, and that's going to be huge. He's going to get paid. He's either going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league or top two, probably. That's what I think. But on top of that, we have other free agents at the end of this year. Charvarius Ward, Lenore, Banks, Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw. Those are all names that we want to keep on this team if we want to keep this team winning at a high level. And I don't think we can keep all of them, quite honestly. But I think we all know that. There are players that are even going to have to restructure their contract to make this work because Brock Purdy is going to get his payday. That's happening. And anything after that is going to have to be secondary. So I don't see how we can get into the sweepstakes for Davante Adams because I just think that we have too many issues going on at the end of the year when it comes to money. If Adams is looking for a ring and is willing to come to the 49ers and worry about his contract at the end of the year, then maybe we can get him on the cheap. But there's other teams that are going to be involved. Kansas City Chiefs are basically decimated at the wide receiver position, and going after a player like Davante Adams would suit them just fine. That's my nightmare. I do not need Patrick Mahomes and Davante Adams on the same team against the 49ers in the Super Bowl. That would be horrible. I definitely would love to see the Niners try and go after him just to keep other teams like the Chiefs from getting him. I've heard Baltimore, which would also be equally scary with the way that their offense is running right now on all cylinders. I wouldn't want him to go. I wouldn't want him to go to either one of those teams. I'm trying to think of a team that I wouldn't. The Seattle Seahawks. No, I don't think they're in the chase for him. But who knows? They could be. The Jets. Maybe he'll go back and play with Aaron Rodgers. But I don't think that the Jets. Yeah, I don't think they're involved in this. I just don't get the feeling. I think it's going to be something like Kansas City, San Francisco, Dallas. Those are the top three teams I'm thinking of off the top of my head that might lure him away. And I know he's going to get traded. It's just a matter of to who. Buffalo, I could totally see going after Adams. As a matter of fact, Buffalo kind of makes sense because they lost their star wide receiver to Texas last year or in this offseason. So kind of makes sense to go after him. So those are teams to look out for, but you definitely don't want him going to a team you're going to see in the Super Bowl, provided we make the Super Bowl. So my thoughts on Davante Adams is if we can get him cheap and he wants to come win a Super Bowl, then I think it works. But I don't believe that's exactly what's going to happen. But let's see. Who knows? I could be totally wrong. Maybe he'll make a deal, and maybe the 49ers are looking at it. The wide receiver spot for the 49ers is not the biggest cause for concern. We have defensive line issues pressuring the quarterback that is absolutely a concern for the 49ers right now. That's where they should be looking at upgrading a player, if at all. We have linebacker issues. Warner's been hurt all week, so let's just get to the injury report, okay? Kittle and Warner were both doing conditioning today, which means they were practicing outside of pads, which does sound good coming up for Sunday's game, but there is nothing that Kyle Shanahan is saying that's making me believe right now that they're a 100% go. I think they're going to be a game time decision. I do believe it's more of Kittle will probably play and Warner might not, but they're both in conditioning right now. It's Friday, so it's only 2 days away. I'm not sure if either one of them are going to play, but this is a big game. We need the players out there that can make it out there on the field. So they might go. They might just go. I'm more inclined to say that I think those guys will be on the field than won't be, unless they absolutely can't go. So I would expect to see Warner and Kittle out there. But D. Winters was back at practice, and he's been hurt. Now, if Warner can't go, D. Winters is next man up for starting in Warner's place, and that's a good player to replace Warner with for a game if he needs to. We got Flanagan Fowles, who is also injured, and if he can't go, then D. Winters might take that spot as well. But we need one of those two guys out there. We either need Flanagan Fowles out there, or we need to have Warner out there. But if they're both out and we have D. Winters and somebody else, I'm not really sure who it would be, that's going to be really tough on the defense playing the Cardinals on Sunday. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that doesn't happen because we don't want to see that. We've got to at least have one of those guys back. But either way, we are getting back to health. Debo's fine. He's doing well. He's going to play. And I do think Kittle and Warner are going to be out there. So I'm not too worried about it. But obviously we don't want them to get any further injured than they already are. This team is snake bitten. They have had nothing but problems with injuries since the beginning of this year. We need to overcome that. So if they have to sit out on Sunday so that they don't ruin their entire season or are out for even further time, 2, 3, 4 games, then they should make that hard decision to keep them out, right? But let's just hope that it's not that bad and those two guys are out there. They were out practicing, so I think they're very close to saying that they'll be able to play on Sunday. Let's see how it goes. And speaking of injuries, let's talk about Christian McCaffrey a little bit. Christian McCaffrey, the word out of the Niners camp compared to what the doctors are saying, what Christian McCaffrey's own father is saying, lots of different things going around. But the bottom line is, guys, is I don't think we see Christian McCaffrey back this year. I really don't think so. If we do, it'll be awfully close to the playoffs. I could be wrong, but this is just really suspect that he would fly to Germany for a small thing that is maybe being out a month to heal, kind of a deal. This doesn't feel like this. This feels like an Achilles it's about to snap. And the next time he goes in, he's risking it. I just think he's going to be out for the year, basically healing. Or they may take a risk in a month from now, get him back in there in November, and if he snaps his Achilles, which could happen, then he's out for the year, but then he gets surgery, and that puts him on track to be back next year about this time, or maybe a little bit sooner. So maybe they just go out there and put it all on the line and let him run and see what happens. I always think that if they're recommending surgery now as opposed to going out there and snapping the whole damn thing and just having Achilles, it's just completely obliterated. I would rather see him do the surgery now and just wait, and we got other players that can get his back until he comes back next year. That's my personal opinion, but let's see what happens. I think he's out for a long time, if not the year. I don't think this is going to be I'm going to be back in 4 weeks kind of a thing, guys. I don't see that at all. So I don't know what the coaches are trying to swing or what story they're trying to push here. They're just trying to keep people happy is the bottom line. But the bottom line is really, really that he's hurt bad, and he's, it's going to take time for this thing to heal. So, guys, let's just be happy we have another running back in Mason that is doing so damn well right now that you couldn't ask for a better replacement for Christian McCaffrey. Well, Christian McCaffrey is trying to get better. So Christian McCaffrey, I don't think we're going to hear anything from him, for a little while. Dre Greenlaw, I still have no word on him, and I still think 8 or 9, week 8 or 9 at, minimum before he makes it back onto the field. But let's see. The team's banged up, guys. It's just banged up. We might get hit. We might hit our stride right when we need to, right before the playoffs, if we can get some wins rattled off here. But we have to go and take things. We got to take care of business with the Cardinals and keep moving forward. This is the gauntlet that's coming up here with the Cardinals and Kansas City and Dallas. We got some big games coming up. If we can get through them, even with only one loss, that's winning. That's winning, guys. That's getting toward the playoffs. And the closer we get to playoffs, the closer we get to full health. And we're ready to rock when other teams are really banged up. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey can get back by week, 9 or 10, if that's actually a thing, and he does get healed up, he's going to be on fresh legs for the rest of the year. So that's 7 games in playoffs. Most running backs are beat up pretty bad by week 10 or 11, guys, and they're taking shots and whatever they need to do to get stay on the field. So he will have a distinct advantage if he can make it back by then. So I'm hoping he does, but I'm also logically thinking, he's not going to be back this year. So let's not hope for Christian McCaffrey coming back every week. That's not something that we need to put that out of sight, out of mind, and hopefully we hear some good news down the road, but it's not happening anytime really soon. So with that, we got a Cardinals team that is. They're 1-3. They're not a great team. Their defense is pretty good, but they give us fits all the time. Typically, they're harder for us to beat when we're in Arizona, but we're at home right now. So they got to come to San Francisco and play us. And so that plays to our advantage. So I don't see this as a game that is going to be just a tough battle the entire way through, but I also can see it getting away from us if our defense doesn't show up. I mean, the Cardinals have a very mobile quarterback. They have a good wide receiver. One really good wide receiver that's balling out right now. So, those are guys you got to watch. Those are guys you got to keep under wraps. And our defensive line is not putting pressure on the quarterback right now. So it is a little scary. Maybe this is a good game to try to get a breakout, maybe for Bosa, because Bosa, again, I don't believe he's playing up to his potential. He's not getting at the quarterback and pressuring him. Neither is the rest of the defensive line, to be quite honest. But with a guy like that who's a Pro Bowler coming in, he's got to get to the quarterback and pressure the quarterback more than he is. He is doing some things away from the ball. He helped pressure the quarterback to throw an interception to Fred Warner, and Fred Warner got the interception because of Nick Bosa's defensive line play and pressure on the quarterback. Even though he didn't sack the quarterback, he forced the throw, which in turn got Fred Warner that interception, which was a run back for a touchdown, by the way. So overall, I mean, he's doing things off the ball that are still really good. Nick Bosa is not a bad player by any means. I'm not trying to say I hate the guy, but I would say that there's more to be desired from him, and I'd just like to see him pressure the quarterback and get some more quarterback sacks and really get at the quarterback a little bit more than he is. So that's really the main thing that I wanted to say about Bosa. Other than that, I'll be doing the post-game show as usual after the Niners-Cardinals game, and hopefully we're talking about good news. We know Brock Purdy's going to show up. He has been playing at a Pro Bowl level all year this year, and actually last year too. So, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he's only going to continue to grow. The only question now is, can we stay healthy enough as is to get us through this gauntlet to where we get some players back? We need Kittle to be fully healthy. I think he'll be back this game. I think he's going to play. I mean, he played last week. I think he's going to play this week. But we need him fully healthy. We don't need, after every single game, Kittle being on the questionable list of is he going to play for the next game or not. We need Debo to stay healthy. We need Juwan Jennings to stay healthy. We need Brandon Ayuk to step up and finally take on that number one wide receiver leadership role that he signed a contract that states that you are, right? $30 million a year guy states you're number one wide receiver and you catch anything in the area and a lot of things that aren't. He's not catching anything that's bouncing off his hands, and he certainly isn't making any diving catches or, shoestring catch or tippy toe catches on the sidelines for a touchdown or anything like that. So I'm not seeing anything fantastic from, Brandon Ayuk this year. And that's what happens when you hold out an entire training camp. I've said it a million times. I'm going to say it again. When you hold out in training camp like that, the rust that you're trying to knock off for 2 months is still there. So you got 6 weeks at least, maybe more, before you start performing at the level you're accustomed to playing at. So now the Niners are hurting because of that. He's hurting the team because of his selfishness, because he didn't at least get into training camp and just negotiate through while he was in training camp. I mean, same thing happened with Bosa. He negotiated and held out, and he didn't have a great year. And he's not really having a fantastic year this year either. That happened last year, right? Last year he wasn't fantastic. This year he's still kind of not fantastic. He's doing good. He's not playing at expectations though. He's not playing up to his expectations at all. So, we have some problems on the team, but overall I think that they can be overcome, and we need Kyle Shanahan to call a game like the offensive genius everybody says he is, and what I believe he is. I don't know where his play calling has been in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, we've won, but not all of them. But every single time I see the Niners get on the field this year, the play calling is very vanilla, easy to figure out. I mean, there's nothing genius about it. It just seems, very average. So, I mean, I'm critical of Shanahan this year when I haven't been in many years past, although I have with both Super Bowls. I have been at times, but not like this year. This year seems to be an outlier. So I hope to see better play calling. And the defensive coordinator, Sorensen's got to get it together. He has got to get it together because his play call, I mean, whatever defensive schemes he's running, they suck. They're being, I mean, the secondary was supposed to be a bright spot for the 49ers this year. So far, they are the poor spot. The special teams are absolute junk. I'm afraid somebody's going to run the ball back every single time a kickoff happens if a kicker doesn't put it through the end zone. If somebody catches the ball and actually runs with it, that's scary for the 49ers because their special teams is absolute garbage right now. Garbage. They got to get that crap together. This is a team that has Super Bowl expectations. This defensive coordinator needs to understand that and coach with a sense of urgency, not with I have a few years to figure this shit out kind of thing. You don't have a few years. You got to do it now or maybe never. Maybe have one more year after this, but I think this is the year, guys. When Brock Purdy gets paid in the offseason, things are going to change. So we're going to have to see where it goes from there. But, hey, we're back on track with winning. We beat the Patriots last week. Let's do it again with the Cardinals and keep it rolling because, like I said, the Patriots game is no indication of turning this thing around. The Patriots stink. They're garbage. They're not a good team. You're supposed to beat them, right? So beating them doesn't mean you're back on the horse and you're going, right? It means that you got the win. You turned it around. Now, let's play the Cardinals, who are a better team. Take care of business against the Cardinals, and then we can start talking about turning things around. We take care of business against the Cardinals, and we can start talking about looking like a Super Bowl team again. But right now, I can't say that. Can't give the thumbs up to we're heading in the right direction quite yet. But let's see what happens after Sunday, and then we'll talk about it Sunday evening. So remember, guys, again, please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. I appreciate all of your support and everything you're watching the videos, and I love doing the podcast, guys. So thank you again. And remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. See you in the next one.